So, we read volume 2.
Volume 2 of Love Me Not by Io Sakisaka. This volume starts out with a continuation of the family drama from volume 1.
I love the scene of them in the park. It's perfect.
Where they're just hanging out talking about their feelings.
Yeah. That's all I want. I love Rio making that shh face. Fantastic moment.
You're right, it was really good. There's just something so mature about this story in the way that the characters will get really emotional and there'll be some kind of break or burst in their feelings. And then there's always this decompression moment after, which is kind of how you do handle like emotional spats in real life, where you just kind of separate yourself, you're all with your loved ones, and you're just talking it out for a little bit, you know? That's kind of what the park scene was like, but there's always that lingering tension, which is the continuing dramatic thread of the story.
Uh-huh.
I feel like in the first chapter of the second volume, this is the one where the art just really started to hit me. When the characters are tinier, drawn smaller in the panels, not really chibi-like, but just like more simplified, they are so cute. The way that she draws them.
And I think she does motion pretty well. Like there is this one picture of Akari like swinging around on a jungle gym kind of thing. And that's what it looks like she's doing. She looks like she's like playing on the jungle gym while talking about her feelings to her friends.
Or the scene right after this where Rio and Yuna are running through the rain, that also just beautifully flowed. You could definitely see them kind of track across the shot and go under the bridge.
Yeah, I could see it as being animated where they did like a slowdown because you can see the individual raindrops and everything.
Yes, some manga artists, they really capture that kind of movie feel, and that struck me as it. It is that kind of like that slow-mo feel. But of course it's different because it's all comic panels.
Yeah, and even still, she like hardly does any backgrounds. Only things that they touch or if they're talking about it. So, okay, it's kind of weird that she relies so much on the people when the case of same face really shows in this volume.
I didn't mention this last time, but there's maybe
you
I did
did mention it.
There's that. Yeah, it's that scene where the random classmate girl. I love how all the classmate characters are so nondescript. It's literally like there's a classmate guy in this episode, or not episode, volume, and he is just a classmate guy. He has no distinguishing factors.
Wait, are you saying the one that looks exactly like Inui? And they're in the same scene together and it's just confusion.
The only difference between Inui and that classmate guy was that classmate guy didn't have white highlights in his hair. That was your only hint.
But it was extra confusing because Rio and Inui became friends in like the scene prior. So you're like, they could be talking to each other in school and then he's acting all mean to Yuna and you're like, wait. And then Inui walks up and you're like, oh, I see.
It is kind of like a scene where a character shows up and then just like two other versions of them also walk into the scene and you're like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah, and in the background is just a sea of Rios. I'm not even kidding. It's just like Rios everywhere.
I wouldn't even criticize that per se. I mean, maybe it's an issue. It's the thing is that it doesn't matter. The story is this dramatic focus on the love that these now 4 characters are kind of working through and experiencing, you know? So all these other details, you know, the backgrounds of what's going on, the people in their classroom, they just kind of blur and fade away.
Superfluous. Who needs them?
I'm thinking of Lovely Complex handled this a bit better by making a lot of the characters very fashionable, so there was more characteristics and outfits and hairstyles.
Yeah, so different because here they're wearing uniforms. So, what can you do? Do they have different skirt lengths even? I don't know if I've ever even noticed that.
Oh, like if one of the girl rolls them? I don't think so. I noticed this while drawing that picture for the last video.
The socks,
so
right?
Yuna has long socks. Akari has short socks. That's literally, I think that's the only distinguishment between their two outfits. Okay, but we're getting off base. So I agree with you that they're same face, but I don't really think the focus of the story is on the classmate characters at all, so I don't really care about it too much, other than the fact that certain scenes get pretty confusing about who's talking to who.
And once you mentioned it, I thought it was funny.
It's pretty funny. But when it comes to the big character moments, the art in the individual scenes, it's top tier. It's top notch. Especially Yuna, like the characters' faces when they do the close up when the characters are having their big emotional moments. I'm thinking Yuna right before she confesses or during the confession, or kind of Akari when she has her own awakening later in this volume. Like those moments when you see the close-ups of their faces, I don't know, they're just so beautiful. I love just like looking at all the detail that she drew and the way that she draws the character's eyes.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes they do lack expression. I feel like Rio has the most expression, and Akari has the least, or maybe Inui because you don't really see him. Like, he's pretty baseline for now.
Rio definitely has a lot. Yuna has a ton of emotion.
Yeah, and Yuna, of course, yeah. I said this last time, and I still think it. Akari has a bit of like a blank face.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens next volume, because she's starting to feel a little bit of a certain way.
Yeah. When Akari looks irritated. I do like her irritated face, I suppose that's she shows irritation. Yeah.
That's an emotion.
In that first, I just flipped to the first page, and at the bottom is Inui dressed as Harry Potter. So funny.
I don't. The little character art. Oh, the side. There's nothing like a shoujo manga side panel, man. Especially whenever I go back and read any of Arina Tanemura's work. Anyways, back on track to the big confession scene. Volume 2 confession. This is amazing.
So good. She loves to do an early confession scene. I'm glad it was at least into volume 2. Like, if it happened right away, that would be kind of silly. But it was so good in this one. It wasn't like she blurted it out. She had a reason to do it. She, like, convinced herself to do it. It's fantastic.
What's happening in this series is that each of the girls, Akari with Inui and Yuna with Rio, they're really developing this strong friendship, and I'm going to return to that word I used last time, this sort of like confiding friendship.
Confidant.
Where they're talking to each other about their emotions. And there's just such a good build-up and tension, not even tension, just this great build-up to the confession scene where, because Rio has confided so much in Yuna, he's trying to give her emotional support. And that emotional support and her kind of coming to realize her own feelings kind of builds to this big confession moment. And it's such a dramatic confession because she immediately says, "I like you, now reject me."
Mm-hmm.
Love it. He turns her down, and then they can just kind of move on. And I feel like in this chapter we're developing this beautiful theme in the story that it's just telling girls, like, it's best to get your feelings out there and to kind of develop this understanding with yourself. Don't leave feelings unsaid. Don't leave emotions kind of mysterious within yourself. Know yourself and know what you want, and actually take action,
mm-hmm.
you know, to make that happen. And Yuna shows that she shows that she kind of gets the courage to do this, and how she feels so good about it afterwards.
Oh, and also bad, but
yeah, that's true. She does have a little cry session with Akari afterwards. That was so cute.
And she feels awkward.
Everything's so cute. And it kind of leads up to, that was the big chapter 2 scene where she tries to go talk to Rio, and then classmate guy has to step in and muck everything up.
Make her feel so bad. A stalker.
It kind of calls her a stalker for hanging out with Rio afterwards. To be fair, like, Rio does kind of treat other girls as sort of an annoyance. He really has just developed this closeness with Yuna.
Yeah, that's what I really didn't understand when in the first volume Kari is saying that Rio, like, only likes pretty faces. It makes it seem like he's a playboy, but I don't get that vibe from him. Like, he talks to some girls at the beginning who were said to be pretty, but that doesn't make him, like, shallow or like a playboy, does it?
I think it's just Akari misunderstanding Rio. Yuna, because I think it's the difference between Akari seeing Rio as sort of her stepbrother and just someone kind of new in her life, versus Yuna seeing him as someone that she loves, right? Where she's seeing, because we see the story from Yuna's perspective, we are seeing her seeing all the different sides of Rio and seeing this bigger view, right? Where Akari is just seeing this sort of like one side of him. Well, I guess she sees other sides of him, but she doesn't see the same sides. Yeah. It was great. The pacing in this manga so far, it's absolutely amazing.
It is. I like that you do get to see the conversations between all of them and their friendship building. Like, I understand Sakisaka kind of wants girls to have confidence and then get your feelings out there, but at the same time, don't you think that Yuna is friends with Rio? And that's different than just confessing your feelings at random to a stranger?
Well, that's why it's so important to get her feelings out there, right? Because I think that she just really loves and values this relationship that's starting to build with him. So she just wants him to understand how she's feeling. Like, that's the thing. It's so weird to have this. She's talking with Rio and she's understanding his one-sided feelings for Akari and how he feels not being able to confess to her due to their family circumstances. And by her kind of empathizing with him, she fully understands how that there's no real barriers to her feelings and how it probably would be better just to rip the band-aid off and let him know so that she can kind of move past it. And that's why that builds up to the great line. That's why she says, I like you, now reject me.
She says, I love you, now reject me. Which was kind of intense.
She probably said ski, and it could probably
I know. I was thinking of that in that scene. I was like, I would prefer even I have feelings for you. I love you was... But that's what the title of the book is, so I don't know.
It's always hard to translate these confession scenes.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, right before that confession scene, and after, actually, they used this one sound effect a few times. And can you tell me, what do you think Zark means? What emotion, what sound, what feeling do you get from the word Zark?
Wait, Z-A-R-K?
Z-A-R-K.
Oh my goodness. You're reminding me that I often skip over sound effects.
Oh, I couldn't. Not after I saw it 3 times in this volume in different scenes.
Okay. Okay, should I guess?
I'm hoping you can tell me. I don't know.
What was the context? You have to let me know. No, wait. I want to guess. I want to guess. Okay. Is it the sound of her grabbing somebody's clothes?
Not from the picture. Not. In fact, I think there's little movement.
Is it the sound of rain?
I thought that might be it, but then there's not rain in the next one.
That's usually za. But the
next time there is no rain, so I don't know.
No, that can't be it. Ooh, is it the sound of a footstep?
I don't see how it could be, but would you like me to tell you the page or something so you can look it up?
No, I'm just gonna. Well, you could tell me. Well, do you have any idea from the context?
I have no idea. It might be a negative bump. Like it's a bad bump.
Oh no, it's a doki doki, but it's gone all wrong.
Yeah, it's like maybe if your heart doesn't work, you might get a zark. Maybe you have a heart condition.
A zark. Oh my goodness, zark. That's so funny. I wish that Shoujo Beat did the dorky like the old school manga translation of just having all the sound effects, like a sound effect guide in the back of the manga, but there's no way that they would do that.
I mean, it is unnecessary, but I wish I knew where they got the word Zark. Sometimes they do it for like the sound of cicadas.
Oh my god, is Zark cicada? Is that what's...
It's not. I think it's some sort of creaking Zark, or like maybe it's supposed to be like a turn or something, but it does. At both times, Akari does a Zark, and also Yuna does 2 Zarks. So, if anybody has any ideas, I'd like to know. What's that sound? It's Zark! Now, what's the sound?
When you just say Zark out loud, it does sound some sort of like evil, like lich creature,
yeah.
Right? Zark the destroyer. Zark
if I'm thinking of the sound Zark would make, it seems more like a zap, but different. So it's like lightning and a bat, but it's bad.
Like an emotional Shock. I feel like you would just translated that as shock. What is Zark? Okay. I don't. Where were we? What were we
I don't know. I
talking
could go to my
about?
second point. There was a moment, a beautiful, beautiful moment, that I thought maybe Akari was gonna fall in love with Yuna. Because, like, sometimes her heart does a bump, a doki doki, when she's like, when Yuna's being so fabulous and, like, brave and stuff, and she's saying such, like, insightful things that Akari vibes with. And I'm like, oh, what a fun twist that would be for this story.
I think that there should be a shoujo manga like this.
I would have been really happy. I would have been a million times happier if Akari fell in love with Yuna rather than Inui, which is fine, whatever, but it would make for a more interesting manga, I think.
I was feeling the same way, especially that picture that I drew for the last one. At first I put a heart in between them, and then I was like, oh no, it looks like they're in love, so I just put two hearts to the side of them to represent their two loves.
You don't want to bait the fans.
Queer baiting. Yeah, I know. Well, just to talk about that scene in general, so this leads into the next arc, which is Yuna has found this newfound confidence. She describes it as finding a new world. Like, and what the new world is the world where she's comfortable with her emotions and she kind of understands the way that she feels, and she's just happy interacting with the people around her now, right? She's not there's no hiding. She's just having fun and enjoying love and life. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, I think the new world is just talking about the new feelings that she's feeling, even if they're bad. Like she says that Rio takes her into this new world, and she's never been in love before, and she's like figuring out, oh, this is kind of painful. Is this what love is? This is new. Is this what it's supposed to be like, or is it because he doesn't love me that it feels like this?
And Akari, kind of that exactly like you were saying before, she starts to develop this respect for Yuna because Yuna seems to be kind of like maturing and growing up, and she's just so full of like all these new feelings that Akari starts wondering, kind of questioning, like I kind of want to feel that way too. And that leads into the next arc about the mystery of who gave her the bracelet.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to say really quickly. We also saw some more backstory about that first scene of the first volume.
Right. Honestly, like, is that it? Because I think that's it. It's just that that was the moment that Akari and Rio realized that they were siblings.
Yeah. And then it's nice. She's closing up like loose ends that she had before, the bracelet being one of them, and then that first scene being the other. So you can go ahead talk about the bracelet.
It was given to her by an older, how would I say this? Kind of like an older classmate. When she was in middle school, she knew an older boy, and she like kind of started to develop a crush, and she kind of saw this sort of adult world that he was a part of and this adult way that he treated romances, and she sort of started it's the interesting thing about it is that she kind of half develops these feelings,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where she has this glimmer of like, yeah, I kind of liked him and I kind of remember him, but there's no like there's no closing the circle, right? There's no finality with those feelings. It was just kind of like this general uh impression of an
Mm-hmm.
emotion that she had towards him of liking him. And when she sees Yuna kind of come into herself and sort of like solidify her feelings with Rio and her feelings that's basically it, just solidify her feelings with Rio, she starts thinking back on that and kind of resonating with Yuna, where she's like, the closest time I probably felt to that was my feelings towards the older guy's name is Eiji. She kind of desires that same closure, so she starts seeking him out. And there's some family drama about her staying out too late. I thought that was kind of beside the
Mm-hmm.
point, right?
Not totally, because then later on, I was a bit confused by this too. Yuna and Rio are talking, and Rio says that he was worried about Akari at that moment, but in a familial way.
No, there was a scene afterwards where Yuna theorizes that he's also feeling
Mm,
jealousy.
really? Like,
It's a
oh,
multifaceted
okay.
feeling. She like stayed out late and like she didn't tell anyone where she was, so that's I think that's the familial side of just like, is she in danger, right? And then there's the jealousy of knowing that she's always treasured that bracelet and the person that gave her the bracelet, right? So I think that's it. I don't know. I'd have to go back over a fine tooth comb to see, is it truly just familial feelings? But I don't really
That's
care.
what he said, like, in the moment, but obviously, I guess it wouldn't be. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense in the story. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what did you think about the whole AG plotline and how that ended up?
I really liked it, although, like, I like where it ended up. You know, I feel like you don't know enough about him, and I guess that's the point. Like, he wasn't someone that she knew, really. It was just someone that she saw from afar. So I liked that part of the whole conversation where they're talking about seeing something from far away and seeing something from up close is different, and it kind of loses the magic in a sort of way.
That was the conversation between Inui and Akari. And I had mentioned in our last discussion that I didn't understand Inui as a character. And I feel like he's still somewhat mysterious at the end of this
He
volume.
is.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
there's still more. He becomes more of a character later on, even still, because for now, he's friends with Rio, which is good. I like that they're going to have a friendship, and I hope that you see more of their friendship as well, so it's not just the girls.
Is this manga just leading up to a fantastic double date?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Yuri Yaoi extravaganza.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not the direction that it's going.
I don't see it anyways. I mean, Akari X Yuna all the way, but Rio and Inui, I don't know. Right, no. I was saying so we get to see Inui in like two lights. He's talking to Rio, which is good. We don't see so much of that, and then he's talking to Akari, but when he's speaking to Akari, he seems so mature. Like it's weird. He seems like a non-character and also a mature character. And it seems like there's these levels of maturity that everyone's comparing themselves to, and it's like weird.
There is a lot of moments where the characters think like, whoa, are they more mature than me? Like it started with Yuna and Akari, but then it flipped over to Akari and Yuna. It was kind of Yuna and Rio for a while there. And now it's the final stage, Akari Inui. But what new levels will we reach in high school maturity? What Inui, the way that Inui talks is cryptic, and I think it's because the mangaka is delaying the reveal of what Inui is truly like.
Hmm.
I think that this is twofold. Part of it is that the manga is already jam packed with the love triangle between Rio, Yuna, Akari. There's so much to unpack there, especially with the family situation, and then further the relationship with their mom, which is another kind of like plot arc woven in here, right? So part of it's just delaying the Inui reveal for probably like additional story later, right? And then the other side of it is that Akari can't quite get a read on Inui and how he feels, right?
Yeah.
At the very tail end of volume 2, Akari and Inui have a very kind of like in-depth, somewhat emotional discussion talking about that someplace else. Idealizing something that you don't fully know, and then when you finally get there, you realize. So they have this discussion, and at the very end, Akari says like, "Oh, it's like I." She likes talking to him because she feels like she's reaching these new levels of understanding with him, right? Where talking with him kind of helps her sort out her emotions in the same way that Yuna feels when she talks with Rio, where they're both kind of sorting out their emotions, right? And then at the very end of the volume, Akari is like, oh, maybe I'm starting to feel something.
Yeah. Her heart goes doki doki.
Is it going Doki Doki or is it going Zark? That's the real question. At the very end, there's a manga, the mangaka wrote an afterword where she kind of spoils the Inui plotline or kind of what's happening here.
Really? What does she say?
Well, because what she says about Inui is that he's the type of boy who makes girls fall in love with him, but he doesn't realize it. That he's kind of very attractive and charismatic, but clueless about other people, which I understand that as character, and I can see how this could play into the dramatic arc, right? But I almost didn't like how the afterward kind of spoiled that. I feel like Inui's a little bit less mysterious to me now, although I guess there's got to be something else there.
There is. But it's true, yeah, she calls him like an airhead type character, which he doesn't even seem like an airhead yet. So,
No, he seems very kind of sober, down to earth, and almost philosophical. It seems like he thinks about people a lot and the world a lot. I did really appreciate his him talking about the somewhere not here, right?
yeah.
Because it makes you wonder what his somewhere not here is.
Well, he did even say, like, I like that he gave an example, because when Akari was describing her feelings, she's like, I'm probably not making any sense, and he's like, no, I get it, and I'm like, but do you get it? Because I don't know if I do even. And then he gives the example of like, I used to look at this one really bright area of town from up here on like this hillside that you can see the skyline. And one day I went down there and it was just the same as back home, you know? There were shops, there were houses, there were streetlights. So he does describe his somewhere not here, although it was just an easy example that anyone could relate to. Not personal.
That's true. But that's the thing, is that even though he gave that example, it makes me still feel like there's something deeper there.
Mm-hmm.
Cuz his face, he kind of like turns away his face when he's talking about certain things. Like you can tell that there's some more emotional complexity there, perhaps an incident in his past, perhaps something with his family. I can't tell yet. It's probably a volume 3, volume 4 debacle, right? It's funny too cuz I'm pretty sure that this is the most recent release in English, so we're going to have to wait like however long. I don't know.
3 months, 4 months.
Yeah.
Or actually just 1 month.
Well, I don't know what the release schedule's like, but we'll see. My final thoughts is that I really like the way that this series is developing, and I especially like kind of the message that it has. That it's so valuable for you to understand your feelings and understand the feelings of people around you. Even if it's painful, even if it's hard, even if you're really awkward in the process, right? There's a great value in having people understand you and the way that you feel, as well as understanding yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that both characters really show this feeling, with Akari coming to terms with the way that she felt about Eiji, her old almost crush, and then similarly Yuna's confession to Rio. I think that I really appreciate that there's kind of these it's two basic love stories. It gets confusing with the guys there too, because it's technically like 4 intertwining love stories basically. But I really appreciate that Yuna and Akari, they're perfectly bouncing off of each other, perfectly balancing with each other, and there's this great balance in the story between the two girls' perspectives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still feel like it's interesting that Yuna is making more progress than Akari is.
Yeah, no, and you can tell that Akari feels like Yuna's kind of moving faster than her in a way, which is surprising because Yuna in the beginning was so naive and Akari felt kind of like in a more position of maturity with the way that, like the fact that she had already had a boyfriend and stuff like that. Do you have any final thoughts?
I think it's great that we get to see them becoming friends, all of them. It's fun. It's nice. Overall, I like the direction that the manga's going. I have no other thoughts.
I feel like I got more out of this volume than you did. I really liked the messages.
I know, it really sucks because I'm ready for the story to progress. And it isn't slow going. Like, she confessed to him in this volume. But I feel like there's nothing happening with Akari. I guess that's it. She apologized to her mom, but even still she kind of feels bitter towards her mom because like I feel like she even sees her mom as immature. I don't know if I'm seeing as much like momentum in Akari as I am with Yuna, which is I feel what makes this story different from other shoujo manga because, you know, you get everything that you would get from any other shoujo manga within Yuna's relationship with Rio. And I think the thing that like puts it above the edge is Akari. Yeah, I guess that's all. It's just slow going, which is fine. And I wouldn't like it to be rushed. It would be silly for it to rush.
Yeah. For me, I understand the pacing with Akari. I think that the story is really jam-packed with Like I said, it's jam-packed with the Yuna, Akari, Rio
Drama.
love triangle, basically. There's a lot there, especially with the family. Almost every chapter has a good chunk of it dedicated to whatever family squabble's going on right now. Which isn't my favorite part, but I'm just saying, like, there's stuff is
I
definitely
know.
happening. Like, Akari can slowly reach her
Yeah,
feelings.
I can't wait to see more with Inui. I think that I just like to see more about him as well. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Like, does Inui have friends? Because he doesn't, right? Like, he's supposed to be childhood friends with Yuna, but they don't even talk, except for sometimes at their window. And then he's just like able to go wherever. He always just shows up and he's like, "Oh, hey guys, I'm here. Now talk to me about what you're feeling."
That's such an interesting question. Like, what else does he do? Because you see Rio talking to other classmates all the time. He has.
And we know that Yuna was she only had that one friend, so that's okay that she only has Akari now. And people are intimidated by Akari and she's new in the school, so she doesn't have really that many other friends, but like Inui's been at this school and like this district or whatever his entire life. What's going on there?
You're really making me wonder. Like, does because he comes off as so brooding and almost like philosophical in a
Yeah,
way.
I
Like,
really agree when you say philosophical, that's definitely him.
is he a lonely boy?
But he doesn't seem like it.
He seems like a normal guy.
Exactly. He seems the most normal guy you could get. And then everything surrounding him is like, I guess not.
Yeah. No, that's a head
Yeah.
scratcher. We'll have to see. I almost want to like go back and reread it and see is there ever a scene
No,
where he knows
he
like
doesn't. You don't see him speak to any other person. He just shows up where the conflict is every time. Oh, wait. He like runs, right? That was what happened in the first volume?
he didn't even run that well. Akari just complimented him on trying.
Actually, she insulted him in a way. Oh, I thought you'd be faster.
Yeah. What was that?
Yeah, I don't think he talks to anybody else.
He's mysterious, that Inui. What's his deal, huh? Yeah, we'll just have to see in volume 3, which will come out, I don't know when, hopefully soon.